Good evening, River West Radio 104.1 and Milwaukee. Welcome to the Pulling Each Other Along show with Dave Geis, Dave Clark, and myself, Doug Cornfield. And we'll have a wonderful special guest today, Jay Lawrence, all the way from Cape Coral, Florida. Welcome, everyone. It's good to be back with you all this evening. I hope you're having a wonderful time in Milwaukee. And I think we got all your bad weather over here in New York. And all the good weather is still in Florida. So, Dave Geis, you're in a new location today, our Milwaukee man. Where are you today?
I am actually in Tyler Hill, Pennsylvania.
And what are you doing in Tyler Hill, Pennsylvania?
Well, I'm getting ready for summer camp that I work at. And so we're starting to get the grounds ready and just waiting on all of the kids to show up and just working.
Are you going to show your kids the Colgate Brothers picture?
Oh, they don't need to see that.
I'm so sick of that picture.
I'm sure you are, Dave. I am sure you are. Hey, Dave Clark, how you doing down in sunny Florida?
Well, it's warmer than you guys. I mean, last week at this time, you were sitting right here next to me in sunny, warm Florida. But and it's I hear you, Dave, saying you're getting ready for summer camp, and it's snowing like heck up there.
Yeah.
So I don't miss that. I don't miss it. You guys can have that. So
yeah,
right, we're already getting a shout out from Rusty Dye on the Facebook.
Yes, they do. The old Beatmaster.
I think he's waiting on the on Facebook just for our show. He's probably 30 minutes ahead of time. Can't wait.
Dave, you know Beatmaster, don't you?
I do. I remember him.
So very good. All right. Well, I don't want to wait too long. We have a wonderful guest. We're on the 104.1 River West Radio, and with Dave Clark, Doug Cornfield, and Dave Geis, and we're all over the country right now. And we're bringing in a little more sunshine from Florida. We've got with us today a gentleman named Jay Lawrence. I don't even know where to begin with you, Jay, because we go back further than I even want to think about. But welcome, Jay. Say hi to the Milwaukee audience, Facebook audience, YouTube audience, and whoever else might be watching.
Hello, everybody in Milwaukee and everybody on YouTube and everybody on the radio, man. Everybody at home.
Hey, Dave Clark, why don't you tell everybody how we got to know Jay Lawrence?
Well, as you have alluded to several times, we started the baseball camps, D3 baseball camps for people with limitations, and we hold them, throughout the eastern part of the United States. One with the then Fort Myers Miracle, who are the Twins Class A club here. I'm also living in Cape Coral, so Jay and I are probably about 2 miles apart right now. But Fort Myers is right across the bridge, right across the river, and they have the Twins spring training there, and they have the minor league club there. So you and I, if you want to go all the way back, created this award called Pulling Each Other Along. And it's an award that we give to people in their community that are really unsung heroes, helping other people with limitations to have a better life. And not necessarily really with limitations, maybe, getting people into a better environment, so to speak. But anyway, Jay Lawrence was our first ever Pulling Each Other Along award winner. And we and I want to mention David Condi, because David Condi is the fella that sent in Jay's nomination. And so we presented Jay with the first Pulling Each Other Along award at Hammond Stadium in Fort Myers.
That's
So I have
awesome.
a question. I have a question for Jay about all that, because we just had up on for our Facebook audience and YouTube audience. We just have a picture up of Jay getting pretty emotional in getting this Pulling Each Other Along award, and that was handed to him at Hammond Stadium several years ago. I know I have it somewhere. I think it was 2011, if I am not mistaken. And why do you think, Jay, you got so emotional that day when you got the Pulling Each Other Along award?
Oh, no way, man. I just had something in my eye that day.
Oh, okay. There you go. There you go.
Yeah, seriously, I don't know. Like that's the kind of stuff that like means something to me. I don't know. I don't do what I obviously I don't do what I do to get rich. I'd be rich by now, but I don't. That's not really the legacy that I'm so concerned with. But like for you guys to choose me for an award like that, it was such a honor, and it was just like David who actually nominated me for the award. He had been watching me and kind of helping me and stuff, and to be recognized by somebody like you guys for something like that, it was just kind of overwhelming. It was just awesome. I was really excited, and being back out on the baseball field. I had played on that baseball field when I was in high school, and we won some district games there, and so it was a great thing, man. I really appreciated that. And it's one of the highlights in the last 10 years of doing this.
Yeah.
Well, let me back up a little bit, Jay, and if you would share in a tight time capsule here, because we only got 30 minutes on the radio, but share with our listeners and everyone else watching what happened to you personally, why you're in the situation you're in now.
Okay. I tell a lot of people pretty much until I turned 20 years old, I didn't really know what a physical challenge was. It was like I could kind of pick up just any sport. I had played as a football player. Then I started playing baseball. I ended up playing a year in college, although I liked girls in school a lot more, or girls in partying a lot more. I liked baseball or school at the time, so
I can't believe
it didn't
that.
work out for me, So that's an easy thing to do. So I came back home and I started working part-time for a friend of my father. I was 20 years old and trying to just figure out what my next step was going to be, what I wanted to do. And I was there for I just started cleaning up the shop. I was there for about a month, and he started teaching me the machines. And 3 months later, he offered me 25% of the company to open my own shop on the east coast of Florida in West Palm Beach. And it was $1 million a year company. So at 20 years old, I can always go back to college. I was ready. I quit college and I went over there. We opened. We were cutting everything, making all the cabinet parts for like California Closets and Dixie Ply from Miami to Orlando. And we really hit the ground running over there. But 3 months later, I had made a delivery in the morning, and I met some guys that day on deliveries that was my age, and we went out that night. And I had been working late and everything, and I wasn't drinking, but I started home real early, and I fell asleep, and I woke up in the hospital. And I quadriplegic. I have gained some back, obviously, but
So Jay, that leads to, and I don't know, Doug, if you want, we have a question that was submitted to us from a former person that we had interviewed, and it's in the book, the Pulling Each Other Along book, Tom and Laura. And Laura has a similar but not similar story, but she went through a lot of abuse and change, and had to transition from every day to dealing with a lot of challenges. And she forwarded a question to Doug. And Doug, if I don't say this correctly, you can come in and add to it. But she said when somebody is, goes through an experience like you did, like she did, quite typically there's a period of depression and trauma. She wanted to know how you dealt with that, if indeed you did go through that period of time,
Yeah.
And if so, how you dealt with that?
To be honest with you, not well. I mean, for the first several years, I don't know exactly how many years, it was just faking it, basically. Like, I have a very close family, and like, if they knew how much I was freaking out, like my parents are older, my brothers and sisters, like if they knew how much I was freaking out, it would have been even worse on them. And I knew what kind of a, toll it was taking because, growing up, I was the baby. My next closest brother's 13 years older than me. And so when I came into sports and I was really good at sports, like my family followed me. All my family was at my games and everything like that. So I was like, a lot of times for me, it was like I didn't want anybody to know that I was freaking out, and I would kind of hold it in, and I'd have a smile on my face all day. But at night is when, it was a lot of talking, a lot of wondering why this happened to me. Um, I, but I will tell you that, like, I almost started on a path to look to try to disprove God because I wanted to believe that there is no freaking way that a God who loved me would do this to me. And um, and the funny thing is, man, the further I searched and the deeper I'd go into science, I would still be left with the questions like it just still doesn't make sense. And it kind of got me to start looking more. I read The Purpose Driven Life a while ago, and I know that kind of helped me a lot. And I don't know. I think it's impossible not to go through a depression when you go through something like that, but it's not the challenges that you face in life that make you who you are. It's how you face your challenges. And after going through that time, I knew I had to do something. I mean, life wasn't over. I still had a life, and I'd be darned if I was going to make it the best that I could possibly make it.
So
I got to meet Tom Moore. Actually, they reached out to me, and we contacted. He sent me her book and everything. It was awesome. Great people. Thank you.
great, they are great people, and so that leads me to the next step. Tell us a little bit about what you're involved with now, how you got involved with that, what that's meant to you, and how that's helped several other people.
Yeah, I'm sorry, the phone's ringing over there. I can't get to it, but yeah,
Yeah,
I first thing I started was a chapter of the Bonacani Fund to Cure Paralysis, and I got involved in nonprofit. I don't know. I like to do things to help. I like to do events and stuff, and I got started doing that. And then as I got a little bit older, I wanted to be able to make money for myself and maybe get have a family. I was starting to kind of date a little bit and stuff, and I got an opportunity to go to work for this arena football team that was coming to town, and they hired me as a part-time sales staff. And by the time the season started, they basically fired their general manager and put me as the general manager. And then about halfway through the season, money ran tight because it was when the bubble burst and all that. And the ownership, except a couple of guys, ended up just leaving and leaving us with the team. And we were able to finish out the season, but I saw it as an opportunity to do more. For one, a great way to raise funds and get out in the community. I mean, I'm one person, with the team football players. Those are people that, people listen to. And that's, I started kicking up the idea around about bringing the team back. And I saw a show about the Green Bay Packers about how they do stock shares and how they do that. And I was like, wow, that would be a great way to do it, to actually give it to the people. And as I learned more about it and we started, it's not like that's just the thing you start off on. I mean, we've been going 10 years at this. And the way we've been doing it is we've been providing opportunities for football players, to go. We've had a couple guys overseas and go play pro. We've had guys go and play college. But the main focus is not just, we're much more than just a football team. We're a community building organization. And some of the things that we've gotten involved in, for instance, last year, a couple years ago, the Police Athletic League of Fort Myers wanted to start a youth football program in Dunbar. and they came to our coach. Our coach worked with them, and they've got a really good football league down there called the Stingrays. We also do a monthly foster child outreach where we'll take 2 groups from 2 different homes, boys and girls home, and we'll take them to like the beach, or we'll take them to um, Dave and Buster's or bowling, or once a month, and then we go into the schools and like we'll read to kids, or we'll do a football camp fun day, or we'll do where we'll just go in and talk to kids about the importance of decisions. We help single moms sometimes on outreach. We do. We've worked with Caleb's Crusade, Toys for Tots. That's really where we've built everything we've done. I mean, we've been good. Last 10 years, this year was the first time we didn't make the playoffs. So we made the playoffs for 9 straight years and went to the championship game twice, and we even won the state championship and went undefeated in 2017. So we're serious about football, but we're serious about our community outreach, and we're just about to take a next step on this journey. I've been putting that stock sharing plan together for 10 years, and we're about to launch it on June 1st.
So, go ahead and tell the folks that are listening a little bit more about that. I mean, it's this is a 10-year, one little step at a time kind of dream, and you're getting closer to being able to launch something that's bigger than just one little football team. And I don't put that lightly, because it's hard to run any kind of team, especially year after year after year, like you have, raising the money, getting the coaches, getting all the volunteers, obviously the players, and you've really kept that going. And it's a great thing. Dave and I were just at a game with you. When was it? Just a week ago.
Saturday.
Oh yeah.
Saturday.
Well, that wasn't at the game. That's Dave and Jay. But anyway, so what is this next step that you're at least dreaming and now doing?
Well, I've always believed that there's a better opportunity out there, that this can be more. I mean, baseball, soccer, hockey, they all have minor leagues that are developing players, coaches, and staff for the next level. Why not the NFL, the most popular league in football? And a lot of people say, yeah, college is their minor league. Well, let's face it, college is not the greatest opportunity for every player coming out of high school. There's a lot of guys who end up being an All-American, and then they're selling, cars in the state, because they didn't really get a great opportunity once they got their degree and got out of college. So what we're looking to do is to develop a new fan-owned professional football league and across the country with fan-owned professional football teams that are developing players from 18 to 27. A high school quarterback can come out of high school if he's a number 1 prospect. We're looking to be able to give them a signing bonus, to be able to give them a salary, to be able to let them take advantage of endorsement deals. But they're also required to take some type of an education, but they don't have to go to college. They can go to technical trade school. They can go to culinary school. They can go to ministry. Whatever they choose to do with their next step of life after their football days are over, we're going to give them the opportunity to do that. And we've got a franchise starting in Ohio, the Ohio Pride, the regulators in Texas. We're really starting to get the cities in place, because what we're going to do is the first step is we're going to launch the Stingrays team. And it's going to be very exclusive. There's only going to be 1,000 share packages available. And those 1,000 share packages are going to be 10 shares of stock, 2 season tickets for next year, a polo shirt, and a T-shirt for $100. And really, that's the first thing to help us raise our budget for advertising the league, which we are going to launch directly on it. We found a great crowd equity funding website called WeFunder that only accepts 3% of the people that submit their programs. And when I wrote him a letter, we're all over it. The guy was like, yeah, we definitely want to do this on our site. We're going to launch the team first, we'll launch the league next, and then we're going to launch all teams at the same time. Keeping the same format, something simple, but something people can wrap their head around. And if you're a football fan, I mean, you can invest in football and possibly make off the future success of the league and the team. I think.
All right, we lost you there for a second, Jay. So hopefully we'll talk a little bit more about that on the after show. It's great, that you're doing this for the community. I mean, what I've seen with Dave and I going to some of your games over the years, it's been really cool to see. Not just that you're playing football and giving these young men opportunities and young ladies as well, that they're in the cheerleading and volunteers and kind of all the people that you pulled into this particular organization, but you're helping give folks and these young people an opportunity to do something and to grab onto something and then pulling them into the community. Like Dave and I just did an event not too long ago at the Harley Davidson, and you had several young men there volunteering, helping out, doing community service. Obviously, we hope to have several of your players and cheerleaders and staff that are going to help with our disability baseball camp coming up on May 8th in Cape Coral, or actually Pine Island, Florida, for this particular event. So that's great. Wishing the great success with that, but there's so much more richness to your story. One of the things that I think you helped pull people along with when you had your accident was your response that you've already kind of alluded to today, where you said you wanted to make sure your family didn't take it hard. What are some of the ways that happened maybe early on that you shared in your chapter that you did to make sure that your family didn't feel the hurt and you kind of loosen them up, I guess, a little bit? What are some of the ways you did that?
Something my dad always brings up is right after the accident, my parents were actually on a cruise ship, so they took them a while to get there when I had my accident. But my brothers were the first ones on the scene, and I mean, it was the next day, I guess, and I was on this table that was like rotating me back and forth, one side to the other, to keep my blood flowing. And when I went up on one side, I could see my brothers coming in, my one brother's feet. And me and this brother, he's 13 years older than me, and we always had this thing between us about who could run faster. And I saw his feet, and as the table was rotating back, I just said, "Hey, Rob, I can still outrun you."
Did you ever have that race?
No, but he's old, so I'm counting the days. I'll let him get a little older, and then I know I can beat him.
There you go. There you go. At least you could maybe make sure he's riding against your wheelchair. And
Hey, in distance, I got him.
there you go. As
Yeah.
long as you got your battery filled, as long as you got that battery all filled. All right. Well, we're gonna lose one of our faithful fans if I don't ask you one of our questions, which is, what is your favorite donut?
My favorite donut is, I would say the eclair, but anything with custard in the middle and chocolate on the top.
There you go. Where's your favorite place to go get one of those donuts? You got a
Man,
favorite
I haven't
place
had
in
a
town?
donut in years, man. I can't. I'm too fat to be eating donuts.
There you go. But you can still remember the
Actually, I'll
taste.
tell you what. I had a Dunkin' Donut probably for the first time in like 2 years, about 2 weeks ago at my mom's.
There you go. Nice. Um, anyway, so Dave Clark, what else you got for this young man?
Well, I was going to throw it up to Dave and see if he had any
Yeah.
questions for Jay.
Yeah, Jay. First of all, nice meeting you. It's the first time I've met you.
Yeah.
I do have a question. It's might be kind of tough to answer. Hopefully, not an impossible one to answer. But following your accident, what was your single most challenging thing that you had to go through on the road back to your recovery here?
I'm gonna be honest. The one thing that scared me the most was, like, in my whole life, I never had problems dating or being with girls and stuff like that. And bro, there was a lot of nights that I laid awake just. There was a lot of nights that I would lay in bed thinking I would never be with another woman again, and that freaked me out. And I don't know. That was my drug of choice, women, I guess. So, and there were a lot of nights that I freaked out about that. But
well, I know Dave Clark went through that too. So,
but no, I can't relate to that. I don't.
No, you can't relate at all. None of us can. I only have 7 children, so I can't relate. So anyway.
Well, hey, when you guys met me, I was
Well-
married, so that obviously went away.
Yeah.
Anyway, so with that said, I was going to kind of bring this up later, but I guess you've kind of brought it up for us, and it seems like you've kind of conquered this quest of not being with some women. I don't know. I was pulling up some of your pictures from Facebook, and it seems like you're a bit of a magnet, from what I can tell. What do you think? If anybody's watching, if you are not seeing the picture on the radio show, go to our Pulling Each Other Along Facebook page and rewatch this, so you can see Jay with all these women that I found on his Facebook page. And then, to boot, it looks like he was the prom king, and he has a queen there. So Jay, I don't know if you have any explaining to do or what,
No,
but
honestly, every single person in those pictures were friends, although it's not the problem it used to be. I was worried it would be. Let's say that.
very nice. So that's a good question, Mr. Guy. So we have to ask you the one question that we kind of primed you for. We have about 3 minutes to go on the live show on the 104.1 River West Radio with WXRW. So what is that one thing that helped pull you along? If you can do that to wrap up the show, and then I'll bring on some music and we'll close out at the Milwaukee side.
I'll tell you, man. I mean, obviously, rediscovering my belief in God was huge, but from the very beginning, friends, family from Cape Coral, like really got behind me. Like I can't tell you how many teddy bears I got when I was in the hospital, and the way that the community, just got around me. And I'll tell you, like in the toughest times that I would go through, where you just think like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like it helped that to think that I've got like a lot of people almost like there's a lot of people I wouldn't want to let down by giving up. And there's been times that helped me to not give up because I couldn't imagine disappointing the people that believe in me. And I've had great family. My family's been there, my friends, people I didn't even know that just came out of the woodwork to just let you know they care and they're there to back you. And I was just really blessed. It was just, it was just a blessing for me.
Very good. So getting all those stuffed animals and in your life, and Jay's gone on to not let his personal tragedy, which many would see in a car accident, losing basically a lot of your function. Although, like you said, you've gotten a little bit back. I know recently you've been trying to learn how to drive, and so I hope that goes well. It's really exciting to see that happen, and I don't know if I was a little bit of a part of that, but I was there at the car dealership or the van dealership with you, so that wasn't very long ago, and so wishing you the best with that, and then helping us with our disability baseball camp that's coming up, and we hope people can volunteer for that. If people are listening in from the Florida area, Dave Clark and I and Dave Stevens will be coming down because he was a part of the show for a while. Dave Stevens, Dave Clark, and I will be doing a disability baseball camp again after a pretty good layoff due to COVID, and that's going to be in Pine Island, Florida on May 8th. And if you're interested to know more about that, you can find out more at d3day.com.
If I could just say something about that, Doug, I've been a part of many of those, and I'm telling you, it is worth your time to go just see it. Just to be there and see those kids. Like, me, I know what it's like to hit a home run and stuff. But these kids like will never get that chance except for these D3 days in a lot of situations. I think it's awesome, man. It's definitely worth your time.
Thank you, Jay. I mean, we're going to pause the Milwaukee Live Radio. This is at 104.1 River West Radio. This has been the Pulling Each Other Along show with Dave Clark, Doug Cornfield, Dave Geis. Say goodbye real quick, guys, and then we'll see the Facebook people on the other side.
See you next
Bye,
week.
guys. Thank you.
See you next week, Milwaukee.
All righty, Jay. Thanks for being here. We've got now our Facebook kind of after show.
All right.
So there we go.
And just to let Jay know, Tom and Laura said they think you are wicked cool.
There we go.
Jay in Massachusetts.
You know, I don't know if Todd Sivan is still on. Todd Sivan Media Relationships is actually one of the sponsors of the show. Now that we are on the aftermath, we can say that. But he said he kind of made a quote here that was a little scary to me.
Yeah,
When you were talking about the cheerleaders, he goes, "I'm in too, Tom," because Tom basically said he's in with the program. And then he goes, "We can be the cheerleaders." And I don't know if I want to see Todd Sivan in a cheerleading outfit. For those that you know, Todd.
Yeah. Well, Doug, did you see Tom's response?
Oh, there it is. Still there.
He said that may hurt the program.
Yes, there we go. So I don't think that's going to help you. Oh, here we go. Todd is still listening in, and he is definitely in. I'm not sure we want to see all that, but that might be a little painful, Todd.
Yeah, Todd, you would definitely bring down the looks curve on our cheerleading team. We got some beautiful girls.
Yeah, well, we won't comment.
Put that picture up again. That was some kind. Jay, you've been hoarding all the Cape Coral women, man.
I think he has. Where is that? What's this? It's there it is. Look at that, man.
I mean, you don't even introduce me. What's up?
That's actually the one on the left is one of our head cheerleaders just this year. And she works in helps us with marketing. She's a teacher. And then on the right, that's friends of mine, Kelly and Roxy.
Yeah, they're friends of yours. Yeah, they're friends.
The blonde that's kissing me there. That's Amy. She's our CFO. Oh, the blonde kissing me there. That was she's a Bengals cheerleader. Actually, she's a good friend of mine. They're part of the Stingrays, and then the other one was Amy. She's really great.
So these are the ones coming to Disability Dream and Do, right?
Yes, sir. Except Amy. Amy's been hurt, but
okay.
Megan will be there.
I guess we'll have to forgive you.
Dave will be flying down now. Dave will be flying down to help us out.
It almost looked like Cincinnati for a second there.
All right, we're not going there, guys.
There we go. We need the Colgate boys back. They're going to be an accident.
No.
So I had all these cool shots. I had you and Dave. Look at that, Mr. Cool. Dave's got his sunglasses on. Look at that, man.
Where's that?
Hammond. That's at Hammond Stadium. That was
Dave. What are you reaching for?
I don't know.
I'm telling you, man.
We don't want to go there. I had another picture of Dave. I thought Dave. There we go. I didn't load it up, so I'm going to load it up now. I'm loading up things on the fly.
I'm scared. I'm scared of this one now.
Because I know when we were at the football game, what was that? That was just Saturday, right? It wasn't very long ago. Less than a week ago.
Saturday.
And I took this picture of Jay getting a Dave Clark story. So I don't even know what story was being told at that point, but it was probably a new one because there's so many of them. So I think this is a good time for a Dave Clark story. Which one do you want to hear?
No, this is Jay's show. We want to hear a story from Jay.
All right, what's the story from Jay? He just went blank on us.
Not necessarily a cool story, but we did take a friend out in the woods and scared him pretty good once. If you want that story.
No, we don't want to hear that story. That's probably not one we want to hear. You get yourself in trouble.
It was long enough ago. I can't get sued for it.
Are you sure? What about these stories, Jay?
Hey, who's the one giving you the haircut?
She's one of the cheerleaders, right?
I was just sweating. She was wiping sweat off my face.
Oh, okay. Wiping who's that?
She's one of the cheerleaders. That's Megan. She's a cheerleader and one of our she's a teacher also. And she is actually going to be she's going to be the assistant head coach next year for the cheerleading team.
I'm probably going to go out for cheerleading, Doug.
I'd like to see that, Dave. Don't we have something like where you a little picture of you when you were a kid being a drum majorette? There's a picture of Dave when he's like, "What? How old were you? You weren't very old.
4.
Your mom let you dress up.
I think it was 4.
4 years
Well,
old."
that's what I was telling Doug earlier, man. He was telling me about your technical issues. I'm like, seriously, the guy pitched from freaking crutches. He figure out a computer? You got to be kidding me.
That's what I told Doug. Yeah, I can do that, but I can't do this.
It's all about the desire.
Yeah.
Oh.
We had to bring in Kurt today because
Oh,
Kurt got
geez.
himself a fresh new haircut.
Look
Yeah,
at
new
that
haircut.
haircut.
Wow.
Look at that. Everybody.
Wow, Kurt, you're
let us
looking
know.
wicked cool, man.
Hey,
Yeah.
Kurt, nice to meet you.
Yeah, I heard you had somebody coming on that wanted people to look halfway decent, so I thought I'd help you out a little bit.
Thank you so much, man.
Yeah.
There you go. So, Kurt, any questions for Jay when you're hearing his story here?
Well, I guess, Jay, you're a guy. I'd want to know what's something that's on your bucket list? What's something you haven't done in your life that you want to do before your life's over?
Man, to be honest with you, like, I am not, like, I don't really need a lot of things. I don't really, like, there's not a lot of, like, oh, I want to go to travel or whatever. I think maybe traveling the United States a little bit would be awesome. But really, man, I'm just like, I've been working for 10 years on this football thing, and I know it's a great deal. I know it's a great thing, and it's just really what I want to do. I want to see this happen. And that's really what I'm passionate about. I don't have hobbies too much or anything like that. It's just, I
I think
want
if you
to
go back,
set up these programs and
What was that, Dave?
I was gonna say, I think if you go back to those photos of him and the cheerleaders, his bucket's pretty full.
There you go. Or with Dave, or with Dave there.
Yeah. I had a question about the shares that you're doing with your team.
Yeah.
The stock shares, or just shares, I guess. Because the Packers do the same type of thing, but
Right.
now obviously they're not going to have. I know with the Packers, people get these shares, they buy them, and they got a nice, it's a piece of paper that they put on the wall. It's great, but they don't really have any say so in what happens. Now, is that going to be the same type of thing that you have, where it gives them an availability to receive things or maybe attend some kind of meetings or something like that?
No, I mean, when I first started out with the Packers, I didn't know how they did it. I just kind of knew about it. And it's kind of like a glorified fan club, basically.
Right, right.
But no, this is equity crowdfunding. This company WeFunder that I'm going through, they actually petitioned the government so that you could raise capital through stock shares. And so this is actually a real live opportunity that people can make money on. I mean, obviously on the future of success, but man, that's a lot of incentive. If you're giving out Christmas presents, you better buy a bunch of Stingrays shirts. It's coming back to you, It's and
right.
so yeah,
true.
no, it's a real stock shares. Like people will own it. And what we're planning on doing is we'll have a 7-person board with 2 people from the board coming from the stockholders. They'll be like volunteer board so that they will have a voice on the board when we're making decisions. And then we'll have stock share meetings. We'll probably vote on stuff like forms and fun stuff. I mean, you can't let the fan base choose who's going to be the general manager or whatever, so to speak.
Right.
But to really have a say so in the future of the franchises, and we'll take advantage. I'm the first one to say I'm not the brightest light on the tree. I'm always looking for other lights to help me.
It's very cool. Very nice.
Thank you.
I think you got a fan already, which doesn't surprise me at all because Tom says he wants in. So make sure you keep that in the back of your mind when you're
absolutely
when you start
Tom and
this.
Laura are awesome.
They're big supporters.
What a story!
Yeah, she was on our show. If you haven't seen that, it's several weeks ago. Try to go back in our video watch. I think it's on our YouTube channel as well. And just a special lady. And now she's written us a Pulling Each Other Along poem, and she has it on video for me. So we'll probably start sharing some of that here in the soon, and just some really, really special people with a special, unique, probably one of the most unique bonds I've ever seen in two people, to be honest, with Tom and Laura. So really, really cool.
Yeah.
It's absolutely like amazing to be in the book with the people that you put me in the book on. Like, I don't feel like everybody's going to be reading through this book and, oh, that person's in here, that person's in here. They're going to be like, who's that dude? It's pretty amazing.
Well, we'll just put this picture in, and then they'll go, "Oh, that's who that dude is."
Oh, that dude.
Well, I'll tell you what, I wouldn't
That
do who
dude.
was.
Or
Yeah,
this dude.
I just have good PR people.
There you go. Very good. Well, Jay, is there anything else you want to kind of just share with your audience, share with the folks that are listening, share with the world as this hopefully gets shared and watched again and again?
Yeah, I'll tell you, man, we got a great team behind us. I'm so proud of we had a lot to deal with this year as far as our season went, and our coach Yoshi Smith and Will Roll stepped up in a big way. Our coach of 10 years, Chris Morant, who he wasn't able to be around this year because his wife's been sick and stuff, and he had been our head coach every year. He stepped back into an office role, but things just kept rolling along, and I'm just really thankful for those guys. And man, I'm thankful for you guys for letting me be a part of this book and a part of this webcast. And man, I'm really excited. I really appreciate it, guys.
Well, to have you in the book is kind of one of those unique no-brainers because if you weren't listening earlier, Jay was actually the first ever Pulling Each Other Along award winner. And when we came up with the concept of the award, I don't know if folks know this, but I had called Dave several years ago before we got all this going, and I called him on the phone. I think I was in Virginia, and when I shared the Pulling Each Other Along concept with him, is because we had gotten an award, or Dave had gotten an award, but I got the call for Dave to get the Bo Jackson Courage Award, and it happened to be in January. I think the last weekend in January.
In Chicago.
So this is before I got to really, I knew Dave, but we hadn't been business partners. We had just shaken hands saying, hey, let's do something with your story. Eventually the camp started happening. And I'm calling Dave from Virginia saying there's a group of the Chicago White Sox, Chicago Cubs. It's a big banquet. They want Dave to come and be their Bo Jackson Courage Award winner. So I call Dave. I'm trying to pitch this to him. And what does he do to me? He goes, I don't need no more stinking awards. And I'm like, okay, I didn't even know how to handle this. So I'm thinking, but Dave, this is like going to be something where we're going to be able to market and, share your story, get some video, because we didn't have a lot of video of him speaking at the time. They wanted him to share his story in like a 10-minute segment. And then we started doing the Disability Dream and Do camps. Well, we can't give him an award every camp. And even him, he's not even that deserving for an award every camp. So so we came up with a concept, and we took the story from that is now.
Back it up, Doug.
Back it up. What did I miss?
You're right to this point where I said I don't need more stinking awards, and then you said, well, you don't need any more stinking awards. What do you feel about us presenting an award?
Yes, I did. And
then I listened.
And then he listened, and I started to learn how to kind of not maneuver, but tweak and get into Dave's heart. And so we came up with a concept because Dave and I had already been telling the Pound of Kindness story, or the Pulling Each Other Along story, where Ernie Pound, is Dave's little savior, many, many years ago now. And we've been telling that story. It's touched a lot of hearts. And so thanks to Tim Walsh, who was also a part of our book, when I posted a video of Dave crying like a baby with when he met Ernie Pound 45 years later, Tim Walsh posted on his blog pulling each other along with the video. And then I said, Tim, hey, that's great. Can we use that? And he goes, sure, it's all yours. And so pulling each other along has been ours ever since. And we made that the Pulling Each Other Along award. I actually wanted to get something shorter than Pulling Each Other Along, but I couldn't think of anything better. And so we went with it. And for you to get that first award, it was kind of, you had to be a part of this book, in my opinion. And we're literally, drum roll, because I don't know if Todd's still listening. He probably went to bed because he's been working so hard. But we're planning to send the manuscript to the publisher tomorrow.
Nice.
And so for the Pulling Each Other Along people that have been waiting for that are listening in, if all goes well, manuscript goes out tomorrow, and it'll get kind of packaged for us, and then we'll have to approve the package. And then hopefully we can get a whole bunch of people help to pull us along to get that book out there. So thank you, Jay. Anything else to wrap up with? That was pretty fun to have you on the show. Even though I just saw you a few days ago, it was good to have you on here. I think next week we do have a guest, and I'm trying to think who it is, and I can't remember. So we'll be announcing that. We'll be announcing that. There's like 3 or 4 I just booked for coming up. But Kurt, good to see you again with that very, very Clark Kent.
Nice do. That's a really nice do.
It was,
We
didn't even know who you were when you were on earlier before the show, when you had your mask on. So that was it's amazing how when you meet somebody and you see your mask. I don't know if you've done that, but I'll think somebody is somebody and then they're not. And then the vice versa, where it's like, hey, I know them well, and it's, oh, that's my brother. He's got a mask on. So it's pretty fun. So I don't know if there's any other people that had questions. Great job, Jay. Let's see here. We got from, of course, Tom. Great job, and your chapter in the book will be awesome. It actually is a great chapter. It is really good.
Thanks to your creative help.
Well, I might have helped a little bit, but you kind of already had the story. I just kind of helped you package it a little bit. And so for all of you listeners out there, thanks for listening in. This has been the Pulling Each Other Along show with special guest Jay Lawrence and your hosts, Dave Geis, Dave Clark, Kurt came in here. Kurt Ruskoff came in late. And Jay Lawrence, again, thank you. And we'll see you guys all next week. Thanks and good night.
Okay,
Awesome.
thanks,
Thank you. Good night, guys.